respect to the magnetic field, we can change the magnetic flux linked with the surface. Now, electromagnetic induction can be easily demonstrated via an experiment like a solenoid connected to a galvanometer. And let us consider a magnet kept at rest near this solenoid. Let us move this magnet with a force towards the solenoid. When you move the magnet, the flux linked with the solenoid will change and the galvanometer will show a deflection. Why does the galvanometer show the deflection? Because a current has been induced in the circuit due to the change in magnetic flux. When we are moving the magnet towards the solenoid, the field lines linked with the magnet enter more and more into the coil. When the field changes with respect to the coil, the galvanometer show a deflection due to the current induced in it. Now, when you move the magnet closer and you keep it stationary at one point, when you keep it stationary, the galvanometer will read back 0, showing that you will get induced EMF only and only if there is induced current, only and only if there is a change in magnetic flux. Now, try to move the magnet in the opposite direction. When you move the magnet in the opposite direction, the magnetic field decreases linked with the coil and it will induce a current in the opposite direction. This simple experiment shows that you can induce a current inside a coil by changing the magnetic flux linked with the coil. You can have an easy demonstration of this one with the help of a slideshow. Please observe it. In the slide you can see a plane surface being kept in a magnetic field. According to this, the number of lines cutting that surface is very comparatively less. On the adjacent graph, you can see the flux linked with the surface is very less. Now, look at another figure. There you can see how the field lines are cutting through a circular loop and how this flux cutting through a surface changes with the area. When the area of this loop is more number of lines cut through it. In the figure A, the number of lines cutting through that A is very less because the area of the loop is less. In the figure B, you can see the area is increasing. Because of the increase in area, the flux cutting through the surface is also more. And in figure C, you can see that the field is less, because of that flux is less. And figure D, when the position of the orientation of the coil is changing, the flux is changing. So, by changing either the orientation or by changing the area or by changing the magnetic field, you can change the flux linked with the coil. Thus, we can change the magnetic flux. Now, you have a visible demonstration of the galvanometer showing a deflection. When you move the north pole towards the solenoid, the galvanometer deflects towards the right side, and when you move it, when you just keep it there without movement, it remains stationary and it is showing a 0 deflection, and when you move it in the opposite direction, it gets deflected towards the left side. North pole, when it is moved closer to the solenoid, the deflection towards right, and when the north pole is moved away from the solenoid, you can see the deflection towards left. And in the next one, you can see when you move the magnet inwards, the current flows because there is a change in magnetic flux, and this change in magnetic flux is occurring due to the change in magnetic field. You are not changing the area, you are not changing the orientation, but you are changing the magnetic field with respect to the coil, thereby it shows a deflection towards the right side because of the current flowing. The second figure, there is no movement of the magnet. You stop the movement of the magnet for a moment, the flux linked with the coil doesn't change, therefore no current is induced and the galvanometer shows 0 reading. But when you move the magnet in the opposite direction, you can see that the galvanometer is showing a deflection towards the left side. again the current flows. The current is flowing because there is a decrease in magnetic field. Once again, you can see very clearly on the top figure, the magnetic field is increasing, therefore the current flows, so there is a change in magnetic flux. In the second figure, when you don't move the magnet at all, we keep the magnet stationary, you can see that there is no change in magnetic flux and therefore no current is being induced. And in the last one, when you move the magnet away from it, you can see that there is again a change in magnetic flux, there is a decrease in magnetic flux, that is why there is a decrease in magnetic field, that is why it is showing a deflection towards the left side. Now going for the next slide, you can see again how current is being induced inside a coil when you are moving the magnet into and outside it because of the change in magnetic flux. These experiments very clearly show that you can change the magnetic flux by changing the magnetic field linked with the coil. Now if you see the next figure, it is very clearly shown in that how the lines enter into the coil. When you move the magnet closer and closer, more and more field lines enter into the coil, because of that the magnetic flux will change, and that is why it is inducing current. Similarly, when you move the magnet away from it, these lines will go away, or the number of lines entering into the coil will decrease, and therefore the magnetic flux will change. And if I see, you observe the next slide, you can see we are keeping two coils adjacent to it. The galvanometer of the left coil will show a deflection when you switch on the key and at the same time when you switch off the key. But whenever a steady current flows through the second coil, the magnetic flux linked with the coil does not change and no current will be induced. I repeat, when you switch on the current and when you switch off the current, you will see a deflection in opposite directions. When you switch on the current, the magnetic field increases, the magnetic flux linked with the coil C1 also changes, so the galvanometer shows a deflection because of the current flowing through it. When the current becomes steady, the magnetic field of C2 does not change, hence the magnetic flux associated with C1 does not change, so no current is being induced. But when you switch off the current in coil C2, because of the decrease in magnetic field in C2, the flux linked with C1 also decreases and galvanometer will again show the deflection. A visible example of this one you can see in the next one, where I am sending in the first circuit an AC current, and in the other one you can see the lamp glowing and diminishing because of the continuous change in the magnetic flux. You can generate electric current in the neighboring coil by changing the magnetic flux with the other coil. Thus, we can induce current by different methods, and you can see in the next figure also, when you change the magnetic flux linked with the neighboring coil, you can see the galvanometer showing a continuous deflection due to the change in magnetic field. As the current changes in the first coil, the magnetic field linked with also changes. At the same time, in the second coil, the magnetic flux changes and it induces the current. Let us come back to the theory content again. You can see that in the figure it is very clear that you have seen the change in magnetic flux linked with the coil due to the change in magnetic field. In all the examples which I have selected, the magnetic field linked with the coil was changing. When the magnetic field changes, the flux linked with the coil also changes, thereby the EMF induced also changes. Hello?
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 Yes, yes. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm a 9th grader from Arun English High School.
9th grader.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I find a lot of difficulty in physics in the Newton's second law of motion.
Yeah, you can ask. What is the problem?
Yeah, so according to the second law of motion, can you please explain about the second law of motion? It's really difficult for me.
See, at present now I am taking the class of 12th standard, but anyway I will just tell you Newton's second law of motion is a law which measures force. Okay, you have seen that in the first law of motion the law is telling that you need a force to make a body move from rest or change the uniform motion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but the second law is telling you that how we can measure this force, and this law is telling you that the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the rate of change in momentum of the body, and this change takes place in the direction of the force. Okay, so rate of change in momentum means you can see what I am writing on the board, of course. Rate of change in momentum means change in momentum divided by time. So I have written here mv minus mu. Mv is the final momentum and mu is the initial momentum, correct? So mv minus mu will give you the change in momentum.
Okay.
That change in momentum divided by time is directly proportional to the force according to the Newton's second law of motion. Okay. And F proportional, M you can take common in that expression, right?
Yes.
And then you can take V minus U by T in the bracket, and you have studied already in the first lesson that V minus U by T is called as acceleration.
Yes.
Right? And if I want, I can remove this proportionality sign and introduce a constant K into MA.
Okay.
Okay. In SI system, the value of this K is 1.
Okay.
So then you can write mathematically this F as M into A.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this second law is actually helping us to measure the force, to what extent force is applied on a body. The real measurement of the force will be given, because physics is a science of measurement. So it is helping us to measure this physical quantity called force. Thus we can understand to what extent a body is influenced by a force. A force must be able to produce an acceleration in it, and when you multiply that acceleration with the mass, you will get the force. So that is the significance of the second law of motion. And so many applications of second law can be explained by when a cricket player, when he wants to catch the ball, he will move his hands backwards.
Yeah.
Why he is moving the hands backward while catching the ball? Because when you move the hands backward, the time of catching will increase.
Okay.
Therefore the acceleration of the ball will decrease.
Oh, okay.
Therefore the impact of the force on your hand will decrease.
Okay.
So you need less pain to catch the ball.
Oh, okay, okay.
You can catch the ball without much pain. So these are one of the application of this second law. So we can understand through the second law how we can reduce the force acting on an object. Is it clear?
Okay.
I hope you understood what I have explained.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. See you again, or call me again. Okay, if any doubts are there.
Sure, ma'am.
Bye bye. Okay, now we are coming back to the lesson we have been discussing, electromagnetic induction. And in the slideshow you have seen that if you change the magnetic field, you can induce current in a coil. Now today we are coming to the next one, that is flux is denoted as BA cos theta. By changing the field, how we can induce EMF inside a coil, you have seen through the examples of a solenoid by moving a magnet towards it or away from it. Now the second one, how we can induce EMF or induce current in a closed coil by changing the area of the coil. Here is an example for that. Motional EMF, how you can change the area linked with a coil and induce the current inside the coil. Let me consider a magnetic field into the plane of this board. The magnetic field is directed into the plane of this board. And let us keep a rectangular coil with one side movable into this magnetic field. Let me name this movable side as PQ. let the length of that movable side be L. Let us move this with a constant velocity V in a magnetic field. And you can see clearly in the figure, this rectangular coil encloses some area and the magnetic field lines are cutting through that area. If I move the side PQ right side, more and more field lines will cut through it because of the increase in area. So this is an example where when you change the area, the magnetic flux get induced in the coil. Magnetic EMF get induced, or a magnetic EMF will be induced, or in current will be flowing if the circuit is closed because of the change in magnetic flux. When you move the coil, move the conductor towards the right side by a very small amount x, you are changing the area by an amount Lx. Length into breadth will give you the area L into x. Now you know the expression for EMF induced can be found according to the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Faraday has designed two laws for explaining electromagnetic induction. The first law is saying that there is an induced EMF developed only and only if there is a change in magnetic flux, or in other words, this inducing of current will be there as long as there is a change in magnetic flux. The second law is giving the measurement of EMF, and it is telling you that EMF is equal to d phi by dt. The sign, the significance of sign I will be explaining later to you. The EMF is induced in such a way that it will be opposing the cause that produces it. This sign was given by another scientist according to a law called Lenz's law that I will be explaining later. At present we are going to discuss only the numerical value of EMF. The numerical value of EMF can be given by rate of change in magnetic flux, and in this example B and A are directed in the same direction, so theta is equal to 0 degree. So your flux BA cos theta is equal to BA, that is equal to B into L into X. Substituting that into this expression, d by dt into BLX. We take B outside because B is a constant, L outside because L is a constant. The distance with respect to time only is changing. When you move the slide or moving side towards the right side, you are changing the area by changing the factor x only, or the distance factor x, the position factor x. Because of that change in x with respect to time, an induced current is developed in the circuit, and we know that the rate at which we change the distance is defined as velocity. So the EMF induced in the coil, in the conductor, is given by the value BLV. B is the magnetic field, L is the length of the conductor, and V is the velocity with which you have moved the conductor in the magnetic field. So thus, by changing the area with respect to a coil, we can change the magnetic flux, and thus we can induce EMF in it, thereby induce current in that circuit. Now before going further with the lesson, let us go for a short break.
Friday Movie Fest, co-sponsored by
UAE Tourist Visa at 239 dirhams. Visit musafir.com.
NTV Junior Chef നിങ്ങളെ തേടിയെത്തുന്നു. 8 വയസ്സിനും 12 വയസ്സിനും ഇടയിൽ പ്രായമുള്ള പാചകമറിയാവുന്ന കൂട്ടുകാരാണോ നിങ്ങൾ? നിങ്ങളുടെ രുചിക്കൂട്ടുകൾ നമുക്ക് കൂട്ടുകാരുമായി പങ്കുവയ്ക്കാം. കൈ നിറയെ സമ്മാനങ്ങളും നേടാം. For more details, email us on info@ntvua.com.
NTV Genius coming soon.
Welcome back to My Teacher's program. We have been discussing about how EMF can be induced by changing the area with respect to a coil, the area, and thereby change the magnetic flux and induce EMF. And we have got the expression for the EMF as BLV. This is the second method by which we can induce EMF by changing the area. And now I am going to give you certain other examples also for electromagnetic induction. Now let us consider a solenoid connected to a cell via a key. During the switching on and switching off of this circuit also, there is a change in magnetic field with the coil. When you switch on the current, the magnetic field with respect to the coil increases because the current rises from 0 to I until it becomes steady. The current has to increase from 0 to I until it becomes steady. So during that change, there is a change in magnetic flux, and due to this change in magnetic flux, inside the coil itself an opposing EMF is developed because of the change in magnetic flux linked with its own coil. That process by which the coil induces a back EMF due to the growth of current or due to the decay of current in the coil is called as self-induction. So this is also a form of electromagnetic induction. Similar effect you can see when you switch off the current also. When you switch off the current, current falls or declines from I to 0. When the current is falling from I to 0, the magnetic flux linked with the coil will decrease. And due to the decrease of its own magnetic flux, there is a back EMF developed inside the circuit to maintain that current in the circuit. That process by which a coil induces back EMF in the coil due to the magnetic flux linked with change in magnetic flux linked with it is called by the name self-induction. Now we can also see another example where you are using two coils. The first coil I am naming it as the primary coil, through which I am going to send a current, and the second coil where I am going to connect a galvanometer. I am going to name that coil as the secondary coil. So you have now kept two coils side by side. The primary coil is connected to a source and it is connected via a key, while the secondary coil is connected to the galvanometer. When you press the key in the first one, close the key in the first one, the current grows from 0 to I, from low value to the maximum value, 0 value to the maximum value. During this growth, there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the primary. This causes a change in magnetic flux linked with the secondary also. So due to that, a current is induced in secondary and the secondary coil shows a deflection. So by changing the magnetic flux linked with the neighboring coil, by sending current in the neighboring coil, we can induce current in the other coil. This phenomenon by which we can induce current in the secondary by changing the magnetic flux linked with it, by sending current in the primary coil, by changing the current in the primary coil is called as mutual induction. This phenomenon of mutual induction is being used in devices like transformers etc. for continuous change. In the transformer, we are not using a DC supply, instead we use an alternating supply where there is a continuous change in current. By continuously changing the current in the primary, you can change continuously the magnetic flux linked with the secondary also, and you will get an induced EMF continuously even in the secondary coil. This phenomenon is called by the name mutual induction. So electromagnetic induction can be observed in different ways. in the form of self-induction in the same coil due to the change in magnetic flux, in the form of mutual induction by inducing current in the neighboring coil by changing the magnetic flux linked with it. Now, you have seen the examples of how you can induce EMF by changing the magnetic field as well as area. Now we are coming to the case where how we can induce EMF by changing the orientation of the coil. You can see clearly on the figure in magnetic pole north and south, and the field is always directed from north to south. Let us keep a rectangular coil between the pole pieces of that magnet. At present, I have kept the rectangular coil between the pole pieces of magnet, and the lines are not cutting through that coil. Means the flux linked with the coil is minimum now. But if I rotate the coil, I can change the magnetic flux linked with the coil by changing the orientation of the coil. We are not changing the area, we are not changing the magnetic field, but instead we are just changing only the orientation of the coil. This method of inducing current inside a coil by changing the orientation is being used in devices like AC generators, DC generators, etc. In a hydroelectric power station, the kinetic energy of the water is used for turning turbines, and these turbines turn the coil of a generator to produce electricity. In a windmill, we use the energy of the wind for turning the coil of a generator to produce electricity. In a thermal power plant, the steam's energy is being used. Pressurized steam can turn steam turbines of the generator to produce electricity. By the help of a mechanical source, we can easily generate electricity inside a coil by changing only the orientation of the coil. Neither you are changing B nor you are changing the area, but you are changing the angle with respect to the coil. Now here you can say in a mathematical form, the flux is given by BA cos theta. BA cos theta can be written as omega t, cos omega t. We know that angular velocity is the angle divided by time. This omega t has a unit radians. You can represent this angle in radians. You know that 0 degree can be, it is 0 radians, and 90 degree is pi by 2 radians. Or in terms of time, if you say t is equal to 0, the angle is 0, and when t becomes t by 4, the angle is 90 degree. Like that, by rotating the coil in a magnetic field, we can change the magnetic flux linked with it. Now, if there are n turns for the coil, then the magnetic flux linked with the coil also will be n times the flux linked with a single coil. Now we have seen that according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, E is equal to d phi by dt numerically, or it is equal to minus d phi by dt, because the EMF induced in a coil always opposes the cause that produces it. This is accordance with Lenz's law, and the Lenz law is in accordance with the law of conservation of energy. Now minus d phi by dt, if you differentiate this expression d by dt n b a cos omega t, when you differentiate, you know that n is a constant, b is a constant, a is a constant. The only changing factor is cos omega t. The differential of cos omega t is minus omega sin omega t, and when you multiply this minus and this minus, they get cancelled. You will get NBA omega sin omega t. So EMF induced is given by NBA omega sin omega t, and this expression clearly tells you that this EMF is varying about a maximum value E0. The maximum value E0 is given by NBA omega. You know, according to physics, the equations left hand side and the right hand side should have the same dimensions or same unit. If the left hand side is in volts, then the right hand side also should be in volts. That means NBA omega also should have the unit equal to volts, and all that factors which are given. N is a constant for a given coil, B is a constant for the given field, and A is a constant for the given coil, and if you are rotating with the constant angular speed, NBA omega is the maximum EMF induced in the coil, and this EMF changes due to the change in magnetic flux linked with the coil by changing the orientation with respect to the coil. Once again, you can see with the help of a slide the how with the orientation the magnetic flux changes. You can see in the figure an AC generator. The coil is being kept between the poles of a magnet, very powerful magnet. You can see the rectangular coil rotating inside it, and due to the rotation of the rectangular coil, the magnetic flux linked with it will change, and due to the change in the magnetic flux, a current will be induced in this coil. You can rotate this coil mechanically with the help of power of water in the case of hydroelectric power station, or with the help of a windmill, or with the help of the steam turbines. Different mechanical sources can be used for turning the coil, and this mechanical energy get converted into equivalent amount of electrical energy. Thus, by changing the orientation of the coil in the magnetic field, we can easily induce current inside the coil. And we let us come back to the class again. Now you can see very clearly that how you can change the orientation of the coil and induce EMF in it. E is equal to NBA omega cos omega t, and E is equal to E0 cos omega t. Sorry, E0 sin omega t. We have written the expression already, sin omega t. E0 sin omega t. Let us see how this one varies with respect to the time or with respect to the angle. Let us analyze this. When time is 0, the value of EMF is also 0 because sin 0 is 0. When time becomes T by 4, that means the coil has turned by an angle 90 degree, sin 90's value is 1. So, the maximum value of EMF E0 into 1 is 0. When the time becomes half, that means half of the total time period of revolution, then again the angle becomes 180 degree, sin 180 is equal to 0, the EMF induced will be also 0. Now coming to 270 degree, you have completed around 3/4 of the rotation. 0 degree you started, 1/4 of the revolution gives 90 degree, half of the revolution 180 degree, 3/4 of the revolution 270 degree, sin 270 is minus 1, so you get minus E0. And when you complete the revolution, one time period of revolution gets over, the total angle becomes 360 degree, and the current EMF will be 0 because sin 360 degree is 0. You can see very clearly the EMF get increased from 0 to maximum value, then decreases to 0, goes to the maximum value on the opposite direction, and then again declines back to 0. So, if you draw a graph between EMF and time, you can see that 0 it is 0, and when you are having the time T by 4, the value is maximum, and again at the time T by 2 it is becoming 0, and at 3 T by 4 it is coming to the maximum value in the opposite direction, and when the time is T it is coming back again to 0, and you will get a graph which is a sinusoidal one, the one which is like a curve. Why it is sinusoidal? Because even the values sin 30, sin 60, sin 45 doesn't vary exactly linearly, they vary in a as a curve, because sin 30 is equal to half, sin 45 is 1 by root 2, and sin 60 degree is equal to root 3 by 2. Because of that, you are getting a sinusoidally varying current EMF, and because of that the current generated also will be a sinusoidal one, the one which is varying with respect to time, because current is given by the formula E divided by R, that is equal to E0 sin omega t divided by R, that is giving you I0 sin omega t. So, what is the maximum value of current? E0 divided by R, that is equal to NBA omega divided by R. So, thus we can induce current also by changing the orientation with respect to the coil. We begin with the class, we have said the flux is depending on three factors. The first one is magnetic field, the second one is area, and the third one is the orientation of the coil, means the angle between the magnetic field and the area. And first few example, in the case of a solenoid, by keeping a coil nearby, we are changing the magnetic field linked with it, thereby we are changing the magnetic flux. And in the second example of motional EMF, we change the area subtended by a rectangular coil. Thus, by changing the area inside a rectangular coil, we are inducing the EMF or the current being induced in a closed circuit. And lastly, we have seen how change in flux can be created by the orientation in the case of a generator, AC generator, DC generator, etc. Now, we will go for a short break. Before coming back, how Lenz's law decides the sign of EMF.
Friday Movie Fest, co-sponsored by
UAE Tourist Visa at 239 dirhams. Visit musafir.com.
Welcome back to my teacher's program. And here we can see once again through the slideshow, once again I will give a recap of how you can change the magnetic flux linked with the coil. Let us see how magnetic field changes the magnetic flux linked with the coil. See, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF is induced when there is a change in magnetic flux. In the first slide you can see very clearly how the magnetic field is changing by moving the magnet towards or away from the coil, and similarly the galvanometer is showing the reflection. Next again, how the field is changing. By keeping a coil side by side also we can change the magnetic field linked with it, and thereby we induce current. And here you can see a visible example of sending AC continuously. When you send AC current, the specialty of AC current is it continuously produces a changing magnetic field, and when the magnetic field of one coil is changing, the other one is also getting influenced by the change in the first one. And this process of inducing current in the neighboring coil is called as mutual induction. Mutual induction is one form of electromagnetic induction. Like this, in the same coil also we can induce current when the growth or decay of current take place. That is called by the name self-induction. This is also an example of mutual induction, but you have kept it in another orientation via the core inside the solenoid. The soft iron bar is being kept in both the coils. The first coil where you are sending the alternating current is called the primary coil, and the second coil where you are getting a deflection is called as the secondary coil. Since we are linking the magnetic field via the soft iron bar, the entire flux linked with the primary also get linked with the secondary, thus current get induced inside the secondary coil. And this is also occurring because of the change in magnetic field linked with the coil, not because of the orientation nor because of the area, but it is mainly due to the change in the magnetic field, thereby change in magnetic flux. And lastly, you can see the figure where you are changing the orientation of the coil. By changing the orientation of the coil, we can induce magnetic flux linked with the coil. Now we will come back again to see that according to Lenz's law, I explained to you that the EMF induced is equal to minus d phi by dt. What is the significance of this negative sign? Why this negative sign is being given? Why the EMF is opposing the cause that produces it? Lenz's law is giving an explanation for this. The Lenz's law is in accordance with law of conservation of energy. According to the law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Through this small example, you can see very clearly. If you take a solenoid and you connect this solenoid to a galvanometer and you move a magnet towards or away to the coil. Say for example, you are moving the north pole towards the coil. Suddenly, this coil will produce an induced current, and the current will be in such a way that the side which is the coil which is facing the magnet will become a north pole, and this north pole opposes the increase in the magnetic field linked with it because it repels the magnet. When you move the magnet towards the coil, you are increasing the magnetic field lines linked with the coil. When more and more field lines enter into the coil, the EMF will be induced in such a way that, or the current will be sent through the circuit in such a way that it opposes the cause that produces it. It will face its north pole towards it, so that it repels the magnet, thereby repels the increase in magnetic field. Just let us think the other way around. If you are moving the magnet towards the coil, and instead of the north pole, if it becomes the south pole there, if it was the south pole, then after moving the magnet for some time, you can leave your hand and the magnet will go towards the coil by gaining momentum without spending energy, because a north pole and a south pole attracts. So that will become against the law of conservation of energy. If instead of the north pole there is a south pole created there, then the magnet will gain momentum without any expenditure of energy, which is not possible. Conservation of energy principle says that you can transform energy from one form to another, but you can neither create nor destroy energy. And according to Lenz's law, if this is becoming the north pole, then you are doing work against repulsion to change the magnetic flux. This work done against repulsion is converted into equivalent amount of electrical energy, or the rate at which mechanical work is done in order to move the magnet towards the coil is coming as, or is obtained as, electrical power in the coil. Thus, Lenz's law is in accordance with law of conservation of energy, and it is being shown by a negative sign in the expression. Now, let us consider some of the problems of the NCERT textbook, based on which how the magnetic field changes etc. can be discussed, and we can find out the induced EMF using that. Let us go for the first question. A few questions of the NCERT textbook in order to establish how to find out the EMF using the change in current inside a coil or change in magnetic flux. Let us move to the first question, please. A rectangular wire loop of sides 8 cm and 2 cm with a small cut is moving out of a region of uniform magnetic field of magnitude 0.3 Tesla directed normal to the loop. What is the EMF developed across the cut? If the velocity of the loop is 1 cm per second in a direction normal to the longer side, shorter side of the loop, for how long does the induced voltage last in each case? Let us discuss this one. How we can calculate the value of the induced EMF developed. inside the coil by moving the coil of side 8 centimeter and 2 centimeter with a small cut in a region of magnetic field 0.3 Tesla, and we are moving with a speed of 1 centimeter per second in a direction normal to the longer side and shorter side. What is the shorter side of, if you are moving longer side, what is the EMF induced? When you are moving the shorter side, what is the EMF induced, and how long does each induced voltage last? Let us see how we can solve this problem in a simple manner. Here you can see you are moving a rectangular coil with a small cut, and you consider, it is given in the question that the longer side is 8 centimeter and the shorter side is 2 centimeter, and you are moving this longer side with a velocity of 1 centimeter per second in a magnetic field. And just before only I explained to you how you can find out the EMF using the formula B into L into V, where B is 0.3 Tesla according to the question, and the length of the coil is 8 centimeter, that is 8 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter, and the speed with which it is moving is given as V is equal to 1 centimeter per second, that is 1 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter per second. We are moving the coil in such a way that the longer side is moving out of the magnetic field and the shorter side 2 centimeter. If you are moving it in a magnetic field region with a shorter, the longer side, for how much time it is lasting also it is being asked in the question. We know that time is given by the formula distance divided by speed. When you are moving the longer side, the EMF is lasting only for a duration 2 centimeter divided by 1 centimeter per second is equal to 2 seconds, and the EMF induced is equal to 0.3 into 8 into 10 raised to minus 2 into 1 into 10 raised to minus 2. Thus we can find out 2.4 into 10 to the minus 4 volt. This is the voltage that is being induced in the coil, but this voltage is lasting only for 2 seconds because the breadth of the coil is only how much centimeter? 2 centimeter. So according to the first law of Faraday's, the EMF induced is lasting only for as long as there is a change in the magnetic flux. Now let us say what will happen if you are moving the coil in such a way that you are moving the shorter side outwards. The 2 centimeter one is moved with the same velocity 1 centimeter per second. In this case the EMF induced will be equal to BLV again, but B is 0.3 Tesla, the length you have moved is only 2 into 10 raised to minus 2, and the velocity with which you are moving is 1 centimeter per second, that is 1 into 10 raised to minus 2, that is 0.6 into 10 to the minus 4 volt. Even though the EMF induced is less, but it is lasting for a longer duration because time is equal to distance divided by speed. It is lasting until this complete 8 centimeter is finished. So 8 centimeter divided by 1 centimeter per second, it is lasting for 8 seconds. This example very clearly shows that the EMF induced in the second case is lasting for more time because the length of the coil is bigger than the breadth. It is time to wind up. I will see you again next week hopefully. Till then, bye bye.